Hello and welcome to Two Girls and Two Coasts.
Hi, everybody. I just want to let everyone know that my bestie, who now lives in Miami, has joined us today on Two Girls, Two Coasts. We met in 1992 in Paris, France. And
Is that where you guys met?
yes, we met in
Okay.
Paris.
I thought you met
Yeah.
Kristen was my chaperon.
I remember.
Yes.
Well,
that
she was
your
a lot of people's chaperone. She was the
Yeah.
apartment chaperone.
Yeah.
When Kristen got that job, we were all like, best job ever. Moving to Paris and living in
Lived in a killer apartment for free.
Yeah.
For free.
in
I
Paris.
mean, on Rue de Rivoli, across the street from what? The Bon Marché and the Louvre, Le Rivoli.
Well,
Right
I
off
didn't
the
live for
Seine.
free, but you lived free.
Yeah, I know. I know. And we were right by, we had all the great parks by us. We had so much fun. We would go through phases of doing things. We did beading. And remember, Laura, we did beading. We were in the park. We got so sunburned. Our shoulders were so burnt. What was that park that was right behind us?
Rue de Leal.
Yeah, Leal, right? Okay, so we were there. And these guys would always like come up to us and be like, hello, girls, girls, girls. We were like, what? Yeah, because we were always.
Lorie Baker, then we was our baby in New York for years and years. You guys were roommates there then at the coolest loft in Alphabet City.
We had a cool
Yeah, well,
one.
first we started on 3rd Street in the East Village.
Yes. Right.
And-
No, because Laura got back from Paris and Kristen's like, you got to get out of my room. Laura's moving in. I'm like, okay. Clyde. And I moved in with Clyde.
Which worked out
She never told me
perfectly.
that you got kicked out.
Yeah,
because
I
of
know. You
me.
didn't know. Listen,
Yeah,
I
I
adore
don't
you.
think I told you.
It was fine
You
because
out, you in.
because
Yeah.
3rd Street became a hostel. Every room was. Corinne went to Italy. Kim moved in. Wendy moved in. Eric moved in. Like it was all revolving. Laura, when you moved in, then who were the roommates?
It was me and Kristen and Corinne.
Oh,
And
so
then
Corinne came
Corinne-
back and
Corinne
Kristen came
moved
back.
out and
Calvin moved in. Yeah.
moved in, and Calvin kept it until like maybe 12 years ago,
Yeah.
13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
was the final. I remember that. Yeah.
He was the
Yep.
final.
like,
I had
"Good
every room.
I had
moved
2
back.
rooms in there. I had the big one upstairs, and then I had the one that had the brick walls, but the mattress went
Corinne.
right up to the brick wall.
Yeah.
So every night you had like a pound of cement in your bed because it would come off the
Oh,
brick.
I didn't know that.
You know, the mortar. It stunk.
We had that little back courtyard too outside. So when we had parties,
That was-
people could smoke outside there. And
We had a couple parties, went out there.
our neighbor was Quentin Crisp. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
remember.
yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
And
I
one
do
time I
remember
had
that.
one of our roommates, Eric, had a boa constrictor. So I was sitting on the stoop with it around my neck. And then the next thing I know, the snake was going through the welding. And so I had to like pull the snake back. And I'll never forget Quentin Crisp sitting there with his ass caught and having a little hand-rolled cigarette. And he snake back. Oh my God.
Well, also, like, wasn't Philip Glass our neighbor too?
Yeah,
think
100%.
I never
Yep.
met him though.
He was
Where
on the
did
other side of 2nd Avenue. Mm-hmm. You know who
And
else
then-
was our neighbor? William Wegman. He was on 6th Street between 1st and 2nd.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
used to
And then,
always
of course,
see-
the Hells Angels.
yeah.
Of course. And the Edge.
And we had a great
the
bar, The Edge. Yeah, that was our favorite. And remember Little Ricky's on the corner of 1st
Yeah,
and
of
3rd?
course.
Such a cute little
The photo
store.
booth.
I loved Ricky's.
Yeah,
Always.
I know.
Fun.
I loved it.
It's fun.
It was fun.
So what a
all right, so
time,
then
90s.
I don't know what happened, how we got to the 10th Street loft.
You guys
We
wanted
got
more
a
space.
3,000 square foot loft at 430
Gorgeous.
East 10th Street between C and D. And we had Kyle.
That.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember-
Caio Fonseca lived below us. He's a painter. He has a painting in Museum of Modern Art, I think. Caio Fonseca. He used to get so mad because there's no insulation between those floors. And I swear to God, I wore clogs. I used to run. Bam, 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 bam,
We were
bam.
so bad. We were like so young. We didn't even think about like no insulation, and you had to wear shoes because it was like basically living in a barn because the
Yeah.
floors were of straw with nail.
And it was
Yeah.
So,
so
but Kyle heard everything. He heard us walking. We were bad too. We rode
you know,
bicycles.
if you
in
were
there.
on one side, yeah, you'd have to yell like Chris. Like, I mean, like
It
I
was
mean,
sweet.
it was so awesome. I mean, it had its downsides too. It had one bathroom. Remember, it only had heat on one side of the apartment.
Oh, so cold.
In the winter, you would wear your coat and your hat on the other side of the apartment when you were watching TV.
Yeah.
It only had AC in the bedrooms that we installed. It was yeah.
That is funny, but
It
that living room
was
was still sweet the way you guys set it up, and the kitchen.
oh, it
It
was
was
so
good.
cool. It
It
was
was
so
Mhm.
so
cool.
great. I
So fun.
loved visiting over there.
Okay, it was all right, so picture this, though. It was so, so cold in the winter, but it was brutally hot in the summer. Remember,
Uh,
Lore?
so hot.
Oh,
100.
oh my
So hot.
god. You have to sleep butt naked with pillows under your limbs and fans blowing on you. Lore used to sleep with a frozen vodka bottle.
Kinda I remember Corinne being pregnant and in the summertime, and I remember her cheeks were just flushed.
It was so
And she
hot
had
because we were on
twins
the
in her
top
belly.
floor. We were on the top floor with a black tar roof. So everything just like the heat just raised and it would be so hot in that apartment.
Oh,
It
How
was
many years
brutal.
did you guys last there?
Was there until 2004. I moved
okay.
out
Wow.
2004
Okay,
when we
so
moved
10
to
years you lived in that. Yeah. And we had that community pool across the street, and this is how gross we were. We used to walk across the street in New York City in bare feet to go to the pool.
No, I
Ew.
never went. I would never go
Me
to
and
that
Carolyn
pool.
did.
You did?
I don't remember that pool, but it does make sense that I would do that with you.
I remember you guys going. I was like, I am not going to that pool.
Yeah. That pool was
No
nasty,
way.
but it was like 120 degrees
I know.
outside,
I know.
you
I
know?
loved going on the roof because that's what I miss about living in New York is the roofs everywhere. We just don't do that
Yeah,
in
it was
LA.
fun. You know, when
I know.
9/11 happened, you could see it from our roof because we
Oh,
had a view of the Twin Towers.
I know, because
Yeah.
Teal's brother took pictures of it, and he
Yeah.
gave me a
He
couple of
was on
them.
the roof.
You guys were
Yeah,
there
Yeah.
then. I
Christian.
wasn't there. Wow, I forgot you guys
Mm,
were there then.
I wasn't there. Laura was there. I
What a
wasn't there.
time though, the 90s in New York. I still feel like that era was the best. So good.
It was the
I mean,
best.
being at Industria and all the supermodels were big and and photography was just so cool then. I feel like it's lost its vibe.
Well,
I don't know, like
as a model then you
yeah,
went on go-sees and
Go
castings and you
sees.
would go by the studios, but now I don't think the girls who do that because now with the digital age, they send your book
Laura,
digitally and
I gotta ask you this because when I was working at Industria, and I shouldn't name names, but one of the photographers that was one of the main owners of Industria, he'd have
Mhm.
ghosties there all the time, and he'd take them
I
down
had
the
to go-see
steps.
with him.
And I remember seeing girls like, whoosh, like, show me your tits, he'd say, or boobs. And then, did you ever have to do that in New York? Show
How
your
did you
boobs?
know?
What?
How did you know? I went on a
How
casting
did I?
there with that photographer,
He
and
made you
it
do
was
that too.
yeah, but I got the job. My boobs are really good.
I love
The funny
No,
thing
I
is that would
remember
not happen today, though, right?
no, my
Okay, but tell
agency
us
but,
just
like, it's funny because when he did such beautiful photography that wasn't, obscene or pornographic, they were just sort of really beautiful, sexy picture women. He really liked a natural woman. And so I remember my agency sent me and they were like, "He may keep you for the job. He's shooting a men's campaign, but he needs a girl and he may keep you." And I remember going and first seeing the makeup artist and then showing him my book and then him asking to see my boobs. And I was thinking, oh, is this are my boobs gonna be in the
be better.
shoot? Which they weren't, but I got the job and I stayed and I was the girl in the campaign.
They didn't, so it wasn't a nude shoot, yet he needed to see your breasts. Hmm.
I mean, I didn't know that. I mean, it was like a very low cut shirt. It was like a men's campaign. So I was like a men's
Mm.
like shirt that was kind of just letting there. So maybe you saw a
A little
little
bit,
bit
yeah.
of something, but it was like campaign, a commercial campaign. So it wasn't like you weren't seeing any.
See that? I mean, he would do this. Remember Industria? There was the front desk, and there
Yes.
was a stairwell that went up to the ramp. He would just have the girls go right by the stairwell, right there in the lobby, and do it.
I was like in the studio, but I
Yeah.
didn't know he did that. I didn't know that happened to other girls. I just
Oh yeah,
thought
it was
maybe it
like
was
a
just my photo
requirement.
shoot. That's so funny.
And
I had no idea.
he did do that beautiful book with
I
I
mean,
forgot.
he shot the most beautiful,
He
classy,
did Jaimin, High
and for some
School.
reason, him ask. I don't know. It didn't feel. I didn't feel like creepy.
No,
I don't. I
Mhm.
don't know. But maybe that's because
Italian,
I knew his style of the photography. It wasn't like we all know there was
right?
other
Why?
photographers that at that time were really creepy.
I
Mm.
don't rem I didn't know you did that with him, I just thought of it, and I was wondering if you ever experienced it, and it was the same exact photographer, that's funny.
That's
Um,
funny. Yeah, and that's the only time I ever worked with him. But I loved his pictures. I thought they were, yeah.
Mhm. I did too. I worked with him on one job, a Seagram's job in the Bahamas, and it rained almost every day, but Lenny Kravitz was there and he kept leaving his roaches on the like a deck railing, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, "I
Yeah.
found another one. Okay, I found another one."
Was he
Everyone was like,
shooting
"My
Lenny
friend."
Kravitz?
No, no, he was just staying at the same place in Harbor Island, like this great
It was
house hotel place.
Don't you
Oh,
think the, listeners are wondering who we're talking about? I think love it at this point that we've talked about him so long, and he does do beautiful work, and he
he
has that
does
book
do. I mean,
out.
but it was a different time
Yeah.
then.
Mhm.
I'm
I mean,
just
I
saying,
remember
like, something like that would never fly right now.
oh, no, but I remember living in Paris and having go-sees where, there's this one famous photographer, and he would have sometimes the go-see at a restaurant, and we were young, 19, we didn't actually know where we were going, we just get the address, and you go to the restaurant, and he'd be sitting there with a couple of his older friends, and
Mhm.
you would do the casting there, and, you never knew, like, are they really looking at my book, or are they just having girls come for,
Right.
entertainment? 'Cause they
Right.
would always be, like, really
Yeah.
nice,
Or
like, "Do you wanna
something
stay?
pretty
Do
to
you
look
want something
at.
to eat? Do you wanna drink?" Like, I never did, but, like, some girls, I'm sure, were hungry and be like, "Yeah, I'll have salad."
That's all I can
But that
have
would
today.
never fly now, you would
I'll have a
never
vodka
that
tonic.
yeah, you could never go, like, a photographer have a casting with all these girls coming into a restaurant, just, like, one after another, a beautiful girl coming into a restaurant showing their book.
Yeah,
It is
that's
interesting
weird.
how things have changed. I remember doing, like, a cast at, like, the Standard Hotel in the lobby. It was just more spacious and people can sit down, and
Right.
isn't it funny
Yeah.
the different how we did at the restaurant is interesting because I do think they did it for fun. I mean, also looking at you, but also to have something pretty to have around
It
and
was
to
like
show
him
off
and
in
his
front of their friends
friends,
or whatever,
and then they
yeah.
would say like, "Oh, we're going here tonight if you wanna come," and, not just for me, they would say that to every girl, it wasn't like I was special, and,
Yeah.
like, I'm sure, like, out of the 50 girls they saw, I'm sure 2 or 3 said, "Oh, yeah, we'll meet you tonight at Bandouche," or wherever they were going.
Mhm. Yeah.
You bring up a
Wow.
good point because, I mean, there's choice, you could choose to hang out and do that
Totally.
thing, or you were such a good girl. I know even in Paris, you guys would stay home and watch movies when everyone was going out. Kristen
All
was
the
saying,
time.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know, well,
well,
first
yeah.
of all, I didn't have any money, and then, like, second of all, I mean, I was the world was so foreign to me, especially Paris at the beginning of my career. It was intimidating to me. I'm from Mississippi. Girls don't we 19-year-olds aren't hanging out with 50-year-old men. That's
Exactly.
just,
Yeah.
that was just always weird. We would never I would never do that. So that was so foreign to me that I would never say, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna meet and hang out with you and your friends." Like that didn't ever sound fun. And I
Mhm.
guess I didn't
You had a
care
good
enough
head
to
on your
like
shoulders. Yeah,
see
common
if it would
sense.
move, my career.
Yes. Exactly.
So,
It's
but yeah, there's
crazy.
always choice. There's always choice. And maybe some girls don't feel like they have a choice because maybe their situation is, everybody's situation is different.
Mhm.
Maybe they
Yeah.
felt like they had to go to maybe it would further their career, or
Yeah,
maybe, they
a
didn't have
little
a place to go back to.
a little more
Yeah.
vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for
And,
Yeah.
sure.
definitely taken advantage of in that era. I'm glad you stayed safe in this time because there's a
I,
lot of different so many stories I've heard, and even we all know, like, what we're going through now with the whole Epstein files, like, what a lot of models went through.
right.
And that's
Mhm.
a good point, like, they definitely were taken advantage of to be at parties, like, we were talking about this with our last guest, Steven Ryder, how
Reader.
a model reader
That's right.
you can get sorry, Steven. You can get booked for editorial, catalog, advertising, or a party. It was just, like, on the menu of for a model where you have to be, and you were probably gonna get paid.
Remember being asked by my agency, famous singer was on tour, and if I wanted to go, I would be paid to, I think he was like touring in Thailand or something, and go for like 3 or 4 weeks on tour. And I would be like, "But what am I gonna do? Like, what's my job? What am I gonna do?" And it was just like you were part of the image, the entourage.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
said no because
It didn't
Yeah.
make
I
sense to you, it sounds like.
it just didn't make sense to me, like, that's all I have to do is just be
Yeah.
there and take
Mhm.
pictures as an entourage, like, I'm always like, I was always brought up to be very suspicious. So I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
gonna this is all we're gonna be asked to do. Maybe that's all they were asked to do. I don't know. The money was good, but I said no because I wasn't comfortable with it. But celebrities, I mean, like, famous singers would do that. You could get paid. Yeah, you get paid for a commercial, you get paid for catalog, or you could get paid to
Mhm.
just hang out at a party and just be there. I mean, usually to
Bruno
hang
Mars
out at a
does that.
party, you were
Yeah.
not being paid money, you were being paid, "Oh, you're gonna get to be on a great yacht," or "You're gonna get to be here." I don't know girls that
Or
got paid to go to parties.
or they would say too, you never know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah, that was
That was a
always like,
big
"Never know, you
line.
can
You
make
never know.
connections,
Right place, right
go, like, promote
time.
yourself." Like,
Yeah.
that's what they
Which
always
to a
said.
19-year-old girl is like, "Oh, yeah, opportunity, maybe,"
Well, you
so
felt
it's so
obligated. A lot of girls would feel obligated, like, "Oh, my agent really wants me to go. I should go and try to make connections," you know? You didn't you always wanted to please your agent. They were booking you. It was
right.
easy
Yeah.
for them to
They
say,
knew
"Oh, no, she's not available. Use so and so." Your
mm,
career was in their hands.
right.
Yeah. Exactly. See. What I was gonna go back to is that I think that, um, a lot of, because of the Epstein stuff in the '90s and models, I think a lot of the agents really protected their girls. Like, agents, I think for the most part, I may be wrong, really took care of their peeps.
I feel like I was with Ford, and I feel absolutely Ford, more so than other agencies,
Yeah.
protected their girls. I felt like if something weird happened or creepy, I could always call my agent and be like, "Okay, this is going on." And like, no photographer wanted to piss Ford off. You didn't want to have that reputation and not get any Ford girls. They had great girls. So
Yeah.
I felt like maybe people weren't as creepy with Ford girls because they knew they
Well,
weren't that type of agency.
I think Eileen was incredibly strict, Eileen Ford,
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
for
And you're right. Nobody wanted to upset Eileen, and none of the agents wanted to upset Eileen. And Eileen ran everything kind of like a family. Like if you were a young girl, you
Yeah.
were at home and you were in bed and you stayed at her
Well,
house.
that's why you
Yeah,
are a chaperone. Most
yeah,
agents didn't have
yeah,
chaperones. You were the
That's nice to hear.
chaperone that made sure
yeah,
we were home by 11. There was
yeah,
no creepy promoters calling the apartment. That was my only apartment that I ever had a chaperone,
yeah.
was with
And
Ford.
literally, we stayed home every night and played Scrabble. And I'm not even kidding you.
We
Yeah,
did.
yeah. We played Scrabble nonstop. We
Because
were
you were so
scrapping.
good at it and I was so bad at it.
No, you got really good though, Lore. You did. But our neighbors hated us in the building because we were
Wait,
really loud. Yeah. What? Yeah.
Isn't there something with the Ford agency, though, coming into the Epstein file thing?
I don't know for sure.
With Katie?
Ugh,
I
Or
I
no?
don't know, but
I don't want to say things that
I
aren't
don't know, but, like, for
neither
sure,
do.
all the agencies probably had his number. I don't know if they necessarily knew he was doing
what he was
anything,
up to, yeah.
but, like,
Mhm.
you know, he was Wexler's, like, I don't know, whatever,
Right.
And
friend
he
or
took care of
advisor, whatever.
he took care of every drop of Les Wexler's money,
So
every single drop.
for sure, if he wanted girls, he was dropping that name to agents, I'm sure.
Victoria's Secret. I mean, no
Yeah,
doubt.
sure.
Yeah.
So I'm sure agents weren't giving him girls, but they didn't. If he said, "Oh, I'm having a party. Do you have any girls that want to come?" I'm sure
Mhm.
some people
Yeah.
probably ran it by some girls.
Mhm. Yeah.
I Here's what I'm upset about mostly, is we are now it's like 2026 in 3 days, and look how long this has gone on for, and it's still mysterious. Like,
Mhm.
how is this not blown wide open and everyone knows all the players? Like, all the protection going on for all these people is
Yeah.
gross.
It's disgusting.
Sick.
But let me tell you what the DOJ is doing, okay? They are just splurting out pieces of the files because they want us to be confused. They think we're stupid, okay? And they want us to just putting it out in little smatterings here, there, there. Eventually, we're going to have to put it all together, and we're figuring out we're seeing some pretty creepy crap. I mean, you have to admit it, right? But they think they're so smart, and they're the exact opposite. I mean, they're a group of bumbling idiots, okay? And So that's why it's coming out like this. And to be honest with you, they already broke the law. Every single thing had to be out on the 19th of December. The president signed off
Yeah.
on it. So there's a very good chance that the attorney general, Pam Bondi, is going to face consequences and might go to prison. And same with,
Yeah.
who's the second man in charge who's just a douchebag? The
Cash Patel?
Blanche? No,
Oh, Todd
Todd
Blanche.
Blanche.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
Trump's personal lawyer?
Yeah, exactly. He uses
He's
the
the
DOJ,
deputy.
as we know, yeah, to weaponize and go after his
It's a
political opponents.
cartoon.
It's
Yeah.
disgusting. Yeah.
Laura, how
So,
you doing right now in this era of this second term of this
I'm
cartoon
good. I know,
reality
I'm just
show,
biding my time.
right?
Sometimes
Buckling
I take
down?
breaks from the news, and yeah, I can't follow like every single thing he does.
How old
yeah.
is your son now?
My kid is 17,
17.
and
How
so
does
he's a
has any
junior
a
in
junior
high
in
school.
high school? Okay.
So yeah, that keeps me busy and,
But does
he's
he
Yeah.
like,
feel affected by any of this? No.
no, I mean, they're teenagers, so like their universe is them.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not following what Trump is doing. If
Well,
it
but
doesn't directly affect the I mean, maybe some teens are, but most teens I know, they've got so much pressure with school and tests and colleges. They've got enough on their plate. It's learning about these
the reason
problems.
I ask is only because they're growing up with the phone in their hand and they have the digital, like everything they see, they kind of see everything. They could pass on it, but like TikTok and there's a lot of discussion out there and
They
I'm
do, but I don't think that's their algorithms,
yeah.
and they're getting more like the stupid viral videos and the
Okay.
memes and,
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
good.
not to sound like I don't want my son to know about it, but, like, he's got enough on his plate because some kids would be really stressed by it. That
Yeah.
would stress them out, like, "What's he gonna
Hmm.
do? What's"
But you
No,
know
for
what? When I was
sure.
like a
Yeah.
junior in high school or a senior in high school, I didn't know what the hell was going on in politics, and I really
No.
didn't care either. I cared more about where I was going into college, what my
Right.
extracurricular stuff, photography, hanging out with my friends, smoking
Yeah.
weed and stuff like that, because I was
Yeah,
bad.
for sure.
Um,
No, no.
I mean, I
No,
didn't really
but it
give a
was
rat's
different.
ass
It
about
was
it.
just different though then.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
it was
yeah,
more,
totally
there
true.
was more normal, standards, things in place, but all the norms are being broken now, so I wonder if it creeps out just
I
especially with,
well, I
like,
mean,
ICE and everything.
College kids, maybe when they go to
Yeah.
who goes to college, that it's more talked about.
that's major.
Well, and
All right, so
also
fill us in. Go ahead.
no, I was just
Sorry.
gonna say when the leader of the most powerful man in the world, his behavior is so outrageous, sometimes that spills into, "Don't be like that," "Don't do that," 'cause, it does make the news, like, how he acts and things and the things he
Well,
says,
his
so
rhetoric is like people are thinking it's the norm now, and it's
well, that's
not.
what I'm
And you know what? I wouldn't if I had a son that was 16, 17, or whatever, I would be like, "Do not watch the news. Do not." You know? Because I don't want you to talk to adults like that, and I don't want you to
it's
but
just a
see, but
bad
Lori's son
example.
Beckett, he's like really passionate about rowing and he's a very good student. And Lori, you guys are a good team. Like fill us in about what he's looking at school wise and like the whole what you've been through.
Mean, like I said, there's just a lot of pressure for high school kids right now.
Yeah.
We live like you do, Carolyn, in California. Florida is a state where our state schools are really hard to get into. Like University of Florida, I think is around a 25% acceptance rate. FSU is not much higher. And these are our like flagship schools, like the University of California's
Mhm.
system,
Yeah,
very
Yeah.
difficult to get into. So
yeah.
it's very competitive. And so, these kids are they're all taking college classes in high school. They're all like trying to get the highest they can get on their ACT. I mean, it's very stressful for these kids. So, as a parent, just trying to give them the resources so they can do their best. You don't even know what to tell them, what to study that might
Yeah.
be still around and the AI won't take away.
The whole AI?
It's
Mhm.
very challenging for them and kids coming out
Hmm.
A
of
lot of
yeah,
pressure.
we just had lunch with one college graduate and one senior in college, and they were saying the same thing. It's really hard to find a job.
Ugh.
It's just 100 one had went through 100 interviews, 100 interviews.
What do you
That's
guys
Yeah.
think
discouraging.
about jobs going away? and we get paid a certain amount of money because just to live, and because AI is going to do our work for us. Like these ideas are out there. They're starting to come
But
to
yeah, they're I
fruition.
mean, for me, they're scary because I think work and being productive gives people a sense of pride and a sense of belonging. And I
Mhm.
don't know about getting paid for doing nothing.
Well, what about work where you have your own farm and raise your own vegetables and things like that? Things that I keep reading so many different versions and ideas of
And what if
this.
you're not good at that?
Yeah, I guess you
Mhm.
find something you're good at, knitting.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Who knows what'll happen, but we are definitely in the middle of a gray area of huge
Yeah.
transition, transformation, evolution, or de-evolution. I mean,
Mhm.
deciding, let's see which way we go. But I always know deep in my heart that the people and the love that comes from all of us is going to win out and make the world beautiful. We just have to fight for it, though. And this
Fight, fight.
2026 be a wild
Yeah,
I
maybe.
year.
agree.
That
Another
was good.
year, one more year. Yeah,
One more
coming
for
up.
yeah, he's living in a very interesting time, and you are being a mother in a very interesting time of we were just raised all so differently.
We didn't have internet. We didn't I
Yeah.
mean, I love internet for information, but I think it was easier not to have social media
Yes.
because it is a time
Oof.
hole that sucks
Ooh.
up a lot of time for
Yeah.
nothing. And we
Yeah.
didn't have that temptation. I mean, it is nice to go on the internet for research, not have to get your encyclopedia book or go to the library. But other than that, I mean, I think this social media is really challenging for the kids
Yeah.
and for adults, for me too. I
And
could definitely
energy.
go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you a quick question. So, in high school or junior high or whatever, are kids allowed to bring their phones into class or do you have to leave them in your locker?
Well,
Like,
they
do
don't
you
have
know?
lockers anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't? What
Not
do they
here
Yeah.
have?
either.
Oh my God.
No
How do I not know
lockers.
these things? God.
And it depends on the teacher. Some teachers you are allowed to bring your phone in, some teachers you put it in a box because at school they do a lot of work on the computer.
Mm
And some kids maybe don't have a computer, they do it on their phone. Like
hmm. Mm
I
hmm.
mean, we're in a public school system, so maybe it's stricter in private school, but here it's up to the teacher. Now some teachers you check your phone at the door.
They must have lockers in those. Why wouldn't
No,
you have
they
lockers?
don't have lockers in Mississippi. I don't think schools have
Why?
lockers anymore because
But why?
it's too because they can I think it was like
They
a
could store
security thing. They could
cash,
put
Oh,
things in their locker that
like
maybe they should
guns and stuff?
guns,
like
drugs.
weed.